Welcome to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Real, taking time out of your day to come watch this episode. I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe for me. I'd really appreciate that as well. That's the best way you can support this channel and help me grow my content and grow this channel to where I'd like it to be. Everybody hit the like button for me on the way in on this video today. That also helps promote this video more in the algorithms, helps grow this channel more as well. Please share this content. I would really appreciate that. My guests would as well. If you would please share this episode with someone you know that maybe is interested in the topic we're talking about today. Please leave a comment below as well. We'd love to hear your guys' feedback. You can interact with myself and the guest on the panel and the live chat as well. Whatever we're talking about, just leave a comment there in the live chat. Pop in and say hello. We'll put it on the screen for you. And yeah, without further ado, let's get to the show. Welcome back to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman on an emergency live here on a Wednesday not Wednesday afternoon yet, Wednesday morning. I'm used to being on live in the afternoon, but yeah, good morning to you guys. Welcome into The Real. If you're new here, please like, subscribe, and share. As you can see, I'm still catching my breath. We just got the news about an hour ago. I've been scrambling, getting all my notes together, clips and everything. So, but it's official. The Browns have hired Todd Monken to be the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns. A stunner to a lot of people. You know, I think for a long time in this coaching search, a lot of people did not think Todd Monken was a real coaching candidate. I thought he was more of maybe just like an OC candidate, possibly to pair with Schwartz, maybe if he didn't want to, if something to work out with the Giants but the guy they interviewed first is the guy they ended up hiring. So I think there's a lot to unpack here with this. I think this is going to be an ongoing development here with the Browns because there's a lot of different things I think that could happen from this. I think Jimmy Haslam definitely liked Todd Monken a lot. Obviously, Todd Monken was here back in 2019 with Freddie Kitchens, and I think when Todd Monken left, I remember he still spoke very highly of the Haslam family. I think you could tell they had a relationship, and I don't know. I mean, this is fascinating. I think there's a couple ways to look at this, where this can go from here. And I know some people have already alluded to that. So I don't know. And I'll play those clips of what those people have said today already. And I played some of it last night on my show. But Todd Monken, obviously Todd Monken was the OC, excuse me, I got something here. Obviously Todd Monken was the OC of the Baltimore Ravens the last few years. Seems like him and Lamar Jackson maybe didn't see eye to eye at the end. And obviously, ultimately, John Harbaugh and Todd Monken both left the organization. And so it is what it is there. But Todd Monken, obviously, he was the offensive coordinator of the Georgia Bulldogs and went on the championship runs a couple years ago. Had a high-powered offense there. Still had a pretty good offense with the Ravens. I mean, it wasn't terrible. I mean, was it the best at times? No, I think they were trying to – I think a lot of it had to do with the relationships off the field. They just never maybe saw eye to eye. But I don't know. I mean, I'd love to do a little more – digging on that and hear what do the insiders in Baltimore have to say about that. But either way, though, he's here. So, Todd Monken during his time here with the Browns back in 19, I even have that up here back in 2019 when he was here. This was written by Zach Jackson back then. He said, the list of disgruntled Browns unhappy with since fired head coach Freddie Kitchens wasn't just limited to the players. Offensive coordinator Todd Monken, who joined the Cleveland Browns staff this year after 3 seasons in that role for Tampa Bay, told opposing coaches late in the season that the Browns were a, quote, total mess and that Kitchens' play calling often deviated from the discussed game plans. And that's actually a true story because Stump Mitchell, who was on my show a few weeks back, shared this exact sentiment. He broke it down. And he was one of the coaches there. Saw it firsthand every day. Here's what Stump said back then.
But Jim has been around.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how well he knows Todd Monken, but Todd would definitely be a great asset, a great quarterback coach. He can coach any type of quarterbacks, and he's demanding. I mean, point blank, he's no nonsense, which is what Baker needed his first year. And he didn't really get the full authority over running the offense. I mean, we would come in, have met for 3 or 4 hours, and Baker might show up and say, this is what we want to do, and the stuff we have on the board, we would erase. That just wasn't the way it should have been, but that's the way it was. And unfortunately, that way only kept us there for that year.
So that was Stub Mitchell then, a couple weeks ago, talking about what happened back then, excuse me. And you can see he also said there, Todd Monken really didn't have a full autonomy to run the offense he wanted here. It was pretty much Baker Mayfield, Freddie Kitchens running the show, which turned into an absolute disaster that year. But, according to Stump, though, he likes Todd Monken a lot, and he thinks Todd Monken can coach any quarterback, really, and he's a very demanding coach. I know some of the reports I did read out of Baltimore was that Todd Monken was very outgoing, and that sometimes Lamar maybe didn't take that too lightly. And so maybe, Todd Monken's a very straightforward guy. And I think one thing the Browns could benefit from Todd Monken is that, he'll bring accountability for sure. He'll demand things out of players. It'll be a strong, probably more buttoned up, culture in terms of discipline. Probably won't be as, not that it was like super loose, but I think it won't be as like, player coach friendly. I think Todd is, not that I'm not saying Todd Monken. I don't know. I'm gonna do more research and background on him, obviously, but I think he's definitely more of an old school coach in some ways. But I think he's also shown that he can, create an offense still in the new era, and he's been creative and been able to adapt different quarterbacks to stuff. So very fascinating. I'm curious to see where Todd Monken, when he speaks to me, where he's going to go with this quarterback battle. With you got Schwartz Sanders, you got Deshaun Watson. Do they go to look for somebody for agency? What's the staff going to look like? And I'm gonna get into this here in a little bit. Where does this go now with the future organization with Andrew Berry? That's something I think has to be discussed. But joining me now, though, is the man, the myth, the legend, the professional fan on this breaking news Wednesday, Sir Michael Antonis. Mike.
Hello.
Mike, I know you were crashing out about this news.
I hate it.
Go ahead, Mike. The floor is yours.
I hate it. This is the worst hire the Browns made. Easy one and done coach. He's going to be fired in a year, and it's all Jimmy Haslam's fault because Jimmy had to get all meddling. Maybe Andrew put his foot down about Jim Schwartz, and this was like some sort of weird middle ground where they're both kind of happy. They get an offensive guy, I guess, and get to keep Jim Schwartz without like elevating him. But like, this is a horrible hire. Horrible hire. Could not be less happy about this hire. He's going to be fired in a year. We're going to win less games than last year. He runs a pedantic, shallow offense that got got Harbaugh chased out of Cleveland. Oh, I'm sorry, Harbaugh chased out of Baltimore. I'm so befuddled right now. He admittedly, he said, I didn't handle Lamar right last season. He can't handle a 2-time NFL MVP right, but we expect him to handle Shedeur Sanders, a 5th-round pick with some upside, and Deshaun Watson, who's been a shell of himself since we overtraded for him. This is a horrible hire. Jimmy Haslam is the worst friggin' owner in the NFL. He continues to show it. He continues to show he knows nothing about football. He continues to show that he undermines his staff that he hired to do a job every time. AB saved his own job by having best draft of his career, maybe the best draft the Browns have had in the past 15 years. One of the better free agencies we've had, has continuously been good with contracts. He identifies his guy, and you don't go with him because you just had to meddle. You just had to be the big boy in the room. This is the worst hire. It's legit the worst case scenario. Out of all of the names, I was like, Monken's just an interview. Like, I never went into this search thinking Monken was a serious candidate. This sucks. This absolutely sucks. I don't even want to watch the team next year. This is awful. We're probably going to have a horrible draft because Monken's going to have a word or two to say about it, and he is horrible with talent evaluation. It just sucks. This guy sucks. That's all I got. That's all I got.
All right. So Mike's not thrilled about it. Mike, well, let me ask you. I mean, this is Shabba Man Humbles in the chat. He said, "Keep your head up, Joe and Mike." Shout out to you, brother. But Mike, this is fascinating. This came out of left field, honestly, the last like 2 days. Like it looked like it was swinging towards Udinski, Shieldhouse for a long time. And then it seemed like, all right, maybe they'll just keep Jim Schwartz and just promote him and maybe get somebody as an OC in here to be the, maybe, head coach in the wing down the road. But I just, fascinating. I mean, we said last night this whole thing was fascinating because it was, and Monken was leading up on the predictions last night. Was it Cauchy? And we were like, I don't know, something seems a little off here. What do you think? How did it get to this point? Because Mike, I just don't see how Andrew Berry. My initial reaction is what I said last night. I know some other reporters are saying this right now too. I just don't think Andrew Berry would have went this route. I really don't. I think he would have went with Nate Shieldhouse.
Yeah, I agree, and they probably should have. Like, I part of me thinks this is some sort of, like I said before, like some sort of middle ground, some sort of compromise between the owner and GM. Maybe they're both kind of okay with it. Maybe they think they can get some young offensive coordinator in that'll like blow their socks off, and maybe they think Monken's a good enough leader. And if the OC doesn't work out, Monken can run the shallow, pedantic offense I was talking about and at least hold it down. I don't think this was like Andrew's first choice by any means, but for whatever reason, like maybe Haslam wasn't comfortable with Shieldhouse. I can only think this is some sort of like middle ground, man. Like Haslam, I truly think if Haslam got his way, it would have been Jim Schwartz. If Andrew Berry would have got his way, it would have been Nate Shieldhouse. This feels like a compromise for both parties, which I don't know if that's good or not. Is it a good thing?
Though, honestly, I the more I think about it though, Mike, because I feel like here's how I look at it. If Jim Schwartz was Haslam's guy all along, I think he would have just did it earlier. Like they wouldn't have dragged out for 3 weeks. I think Haslam wants Schwartz to stay as DC. I don't think he ever really wanted him as head coach. I don't think he truly wanted him as head coach. I don't think it's a coincidence. Like the first head coach interview request they made was through us all 2 weeks ago, or almost 3 weeks ago, was Todd Monken. And then I'm gonna pull up here to some of the receipts from back in 2019 when he left. Todd Monken and Jimmy Haslam. They left on good terms. It wasn't, on bad terms. And I think that's always been somebody he's admired. And, I think they probably had a somewhat of a distant, like an admiration relation, admirable, really, or however you want to say it. They've had a kind of relationship behind the scenes, I think, since 19.
Yeah.
I don't think that would ever went away. And I read about that over the last 3 weeks. So I just think, Mike, I really think this is the guy he might have wanted all along. Which sounds crazy because we didn't see any of this, but here I said on this show, Mike, how many times have I said to you privately, even more privately to you, that I think there's two separate searches that have been going on: Jimmy Haslam's, and then there's Andrew Berry's. And then you see this like reporting the last 3-4 days, which doesn't sound like a functioning organization. I know Haslam says we're not dysfunctional, but this, I'm just sorry. Why do I have a report coming out from Tom Pelissaro over the weekend talking about how people are turned off by the interview process with Andrew Berry and all this, and then I get another thing from the other side of it was saying how Jimmy Haslam wants to
Didi Kikabala.
No, well that, but then Jared Mueller's report talking about how Jimmy Haslam wanted to force the new candidate to keep whoever the candidates are to keep keep Jim Schwartz as defensive coordinator, and that's turning people off. And then I get the one from Aditi Kinkablau today saying how, well, no, they weren't required to write essays. It was just this and this and this. Like, Mike, it's almost like there's like you could just see the difference of opinion in the building just through the reporting.
Yeah. It's been ridiculous. Like, he should have let Andrew Berry do his damn job. And he should have just let him pick the coach. He's the general manager. Let him pick the coach. And, like I said, this is going to be a one-and-done hire. He's going to get fired after a year. This is going to be a tire fire. We're probably going to lose some of our best players because of this, other than the young guys. Like, I don't blame Denzel Ward or Myles Garrett after next year if they ask for a trade. Like, this is just – we're going back into the old ways. Why'd we even fire Kevin Stefanski? Like, that's where I'm at now. Like, why do you even fire Kevin Stefanski? Scapegoat for Jimmy Haslam's bullshit? Like, I don't get it. Why even fire Kevin? You know, this is awful. This is so bad. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, so this is right here, Mike. This was back. It says I got this pulled. It says although the 2019 season under Freddie Kitchens was largely unsuccessful, Monken noted in 2026. I'm reading something else. Monken noted in 2026 that the Haslams were, quote, great to work with during that time. And this was recently, he said this. So,
of course it was recently. He knew he was getting interviewed.
I
love
you,
Jimmy.
I think, I'm just telling you, I think this has been something that's been playing out in Jimmy's mind for a long time.
Well, I'm glad that it'll be able to play out so he can, like, give him his pink slip in 365 days.
Shout out to our boy DB. He says, good hire. Hopefully we retain Schwartz. I'm gonna get
horrible hire, DB.
Yeah,
I love the delusional
fan.
That's the delusional fan, ladies and gentlemen.
So Joey
That's Joey
likes
DB.
it. Mike don't like it. Obviously, the big question now, Mike, too, is, what's going to be his staff? Will they retain Jim Schwartz? And here's from Jeremy Fowler, Mike, a little over a half hour ago. It says the Browns notified Rams assistant Nate Shieldhouse this AM that they were going a different direction. He plans to stay with the Rams and be a factor next cycle. I heard he's probably going to be offensive coordinator. But anyways, we will see what happens with Jim Schwartz, but one team source told me Monken and Schwartz had similarities as coaches and could work well together. And that's something Stump Mitchell said, Mike. Remember when he came on the show that, obviously he knows both of those guys, worked with them both. He thinks they would coach just fine. So Schwartz has 1 year left on his contract, Mike, and I think that's probably what we're going to see is Jim Schwartz brought back. Obviously, Monken's the head coach. And so, Mary Kay Cabot alluded to this yesterday about that pairing, Mike. And that, she said Monken would probably be the head coach, Schwartz would be the DC, and here we are. That's what happened.
Yeah, that's what happened. Just, yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm just so upset. Like I could not have in my wildest imagination thought this would happen.
If you guys want to call in right now and give your take, Humble or anybody watching, if you want to call in. And give your opinion on it. 216-532-5550. Again, 216-532-5550. Call the hotline right now, and we'll get you up here if you want to share your opinion. If not, if you guys are like Mike right now, you need to have a couple minutes and you don't want to talk about it, then so be it. But dude,
I feel like I'm in mourning. Like I don't even have like a good analogy for it. It's like selling a house that was very okay and like being like, it's a nice little family home, but I'm going to pay for this fixer-upper in the worst part of town that would cost $10,000. And there's a Rottweiler that's talking at me down the street and he's swearing at me and calling me names. And this house is crumbling in front of me and I'm forced to fix it. Because guess what? I already sold the house that was a fine family home, wasn't anything fancy. But no, I sold that house, and that house got a nice fixer-upper in Atlanta. And meanwhile, I bought a house in the worst part of town, crumbling at its foundations, and I got to deal with it. I'm forced to fix it. I got to paint it. I gotta re-side it. I gotta put a new roof on it. I gotta do everything to it. That's Todd Monken. He's a crumbling home in the worst part of your city for $10,000. This is something that you could rent for $50 a month. This shit's in West Virginia. This is the worst town you've ever seen. This shit is a coal town that has died back in the 50s. That's what Todd Monken is. This is horse shit, dude. This team sucks. I can't believe God put me in Cleveland, Ohio. God, the Almighty, grateful for everything he does in my life, not blaspheming whatsoever, but he put me here, and it's a test. It's a test. Every morning I wake up and I have to look at Twitter or X, I don't care what you call it, and look at it, and I have to read the Cleveland Browns news daily, and I have to have high blood pressure at 30 because this team just keeps fucking up left and right. They don't do anything right. I was born in 96. There's never been anything good ever. The only good thing that happens to Cleveland Browns players is when they leave. It's just insanity. I feel like I should be on fucking Prozac right now, dude. Like, I'm losing it. This is awful. Oh, I'm in my car. I'm working right now.
I thought you liked West Virginia.
I love West Virginia. I just mean it's a ruined coal town. I was comparing Todd Monken to it.
I got you. Well,
yeah. If you go through West Virginia, you know the towns I'm talking about. No hate. Go Mountaineers. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, if you guys humble, I seen the chat for anybody, Joey. You guys want to call in and let out your feelings right now? 216-532-5550. Mike's letting it out. He's got he's a little better, but Mike, going back though, let's get to the actual hire though. I mean, where do you think a Todd Monken offense? Where do you think he goes at quarterback? Like, obviously, we got George Sanders, we got Deshaun Watson. I'm gonna be honest with you, Mike. I think this may lean more towards. Well, I don't know, because remember Baltimore, they like Shador too. They were going to take him, and
yeah, and that was led by Todd Monken. He had complete control of the offense. So
I don't know. What do you think they go with quarterback? Is it Shador? Could he try to revitalize Watson? I mean, I'm very curious by that.
I think it's going to be what they initially said, that Shador is probably more than likely going to be the starter, unless for whatever reason they love Ty Simpson and take him late. It's probably going to be Shador and Deshaun's the backup. But, Monken does like Shador, so maybe he tries to revitalize that. And here, my crash out aside, man, I hope I'm wrong. Of course I hope I'm wrong. I love the Cleveland Browns. I know right now it might not seem like it, but I sure love my team. I have a bunch of Browns apparel. I buy tickets yearly. I buy tickets. I pay money to Jimmy Haslam so he can eat his steak at the Marble House and laugh and just, put my money in his just endless bank account. I think, but yeah, going back to your question, I don't want to tirade too much. I think it'll be Shador Sanders more than likely. And I think, for all of his faults, Todd Monken is that kind of guy who will commit to a quarterback. So I think Shador Sanders will have better preparation than he did under Stefanski at the very least.
Well, I think like Stump said on the show, I think he can coach any type of quarterback, but I think with Todd Monken, what you're going to get is accountability. I think you're going to get discipline. I think you're going to get very detailed. He's going to expect you in there early and leave the last guy out of the building, as a quarterback. So I think there's a lot of things Monken does really well in terms of just structure, culturally, development. You know what I mean? Like, I think he'll bring that with the quarterback position. I think the key is going to be who he puts with him as his OC. Do you bring a young guy that's a little more innovative, and you can kind of mesh that? Or do you bring in like a guy like, I think an Anthony Lynn's a guy maybe you look at as like the offensive coordinator / run game coordinator you can bring in and kind of mesh that.
I bring in Anthony Lynn right now. I love Anthony Lynn.
I think Anthony Lynn's number one. Anthony Lynn's an excellent human being, but I think Anthony Lynn, he has head coaching experience. His players love him that played for him. He's a great communicator, very down-to-earth guy, hell of a motivator. Anthony Lynn, I think, would be an excellent mesh with Todd Monken as terms of just the air raid, more of his air raid attack that he did in Georgia. And I think he tried to balance that with Lamar. But I think a guy like Anthony Lynn with Todd Monken with the run game coordinating side of Anthony Lynn with Monken's air raid attack, I think that could mesh pretty well, Mike, with the you got Judkins, you got Sampson, you got your horses back there. I would bring back Rocket Sanders. And then you got, you're trying to build out a passing game and develop a quarterback, obviously. I think Monken could really do well there. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Excuse me. I'm losing my voice now. I mean, here I would love Anthony Lynn here. I think he's a quality, like everything you said and more. I think he would make a great offensive coordinator, especially helping rebuild that run game, and picking good interior linemen as well. Again, on the bright side, if Monken can help this passing attack, a guy like Anthony Lynn would definitely play off of him, I think, really well, if it works out.
See, now you're starting to sound a little more optimistic. You know what I mean? You're starting to settle. You're letting it out. You know what I mean? You're gonna get back to the optimistic fan. I know you will. But
it's called gaslighting. I'm gaslighting myself.
I gaslight himself. But again, if you guys want to call in and share your reaction, 216-532-5550. We'll be up here for a little bit more. But I think Todd Monken brings a lot of good qualities. I think he brings experience. He'll bring a culture. I'm sure he learned a lot from his stint in Baltimore. I don't think that was all on him. I think Lamar should take some accountability for what happened there, because ultimately John Harbaugh got fired too. So something clearly happened behind the scenes there, which we've heard speculation about that. I think Ravens are trending more towards, or Lamar wants to be more towards a player's coach, or player empowered, more of a player empowerment environment, if that makes sense. And so I think that's where that might be true. I'm not even sure, Mike. I'm just gonna throw this out there. We'll see what happens with Lamar in the future in Baltimore. I'll just leave it at that. But I think Todd Monken, though, like I said, he was here in 2019. They didn't have full autonomy to do his stuff back then, which seems to be the trend here in Cleveland. Nobody has full autonomy, Mike. So I'm curious what this is going to look like now. I expect Jim Schwartz to be back. He's got 1 year left on his contract. Like I said, I think those two actually would work well together. And obviously, we heard a former coach on the staff who knows them both. I think that'll be just fine. It won't be an issue. I like Anthony Lynn. Mike likes Anthony Lynn. I don't know any other coordinator potential candidates, Mike. Do you know anybody? I mean, was there somebody in Baltimore with them you've heard of? Like, who else could they braid as younger, maybe?
I've heard connections to Davis Webb as an offensive coordinator prospect. He's the passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach over at Denver. I know he's got ties to Monken, but other than Mr. Webb, I don't know of Baltimore's Monken's staff over there too well, because I didn't really look into it, because I didn't think the Cleveland Browns were seriously considering him.
Yeah, you and a lot of people, including myself for a minute. So that's that with Todd Monken. Obviously, we're going to hear more about this. I expect a press conference, Mike, probably Friday. Very soon, maybe tomorrow even, but probably Friday. I think they'll do a press conference. They got to get this rolling. I mean, the Senior Bowl's already started this week, so they got to get going down there and get scouted and get ready. Get the process in check. But on top of that, though, Mike, do they really have everybody? Like, is it really set in stone what this is going to be as an organization? Because yesterday, Mike, we reacted to this, and you and I thought this was fascinating last night. I know I did, especially. We played this on the show. So this was yesterday. Mind you, this was yesterday on the Daily Grocery Report with Chops and Tony Grossi. And remember yesterday, it's like, Mike, there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. A lot of people felt like Shieldhouse was Barry's guy, and it felt like that Schwartz will be assumed was, and Monken to an extent, was Haslam's guy. This was as of yesterday. This was our thinking, right? So this was Tony Grossi yesterday, again, on the Daily Grocery Report.
Be disagreements within the building right now. Like there's no way that they're going to be able to, whoever they pick, they're not going to be able to come out and say this was a unanimous decision. We're not dumb,
Well, listen, the owner assigned GM Andrew Berry as the head of the search committee, the lead guy, the point man. It appears that Berry came back with Nate Shieldhouse as his recommendation. The owner didn't agree with it. So now what do? If you don't trust the guy you put in charge, why did you put him in charge?
Do you think there's any chance that this ends with Andrew Berry no longer being with the organization?
Well, the only reason it's crossed my mind is because this is, to me, it's very similar to to what happened in 2018? No, 2014, when the search was led by Joe Banner and Mike Lombardi. They end up choosing Mike Pettin, who at the time was the defense coordinator of a very successful Buffalo Bills team. They chose him, but there was squabbling going on throughout the search between Banner and Lombardi. So they introduced Pettin. I remember it was in the field house. They introduced them. And then like a day later, Haslam was so ticked off at the dysfunction he saw that he fired both Banner and Lombardi. And he elevated Ray Farmer to GM. It's kind of similar.
So that was yesterday, Mike. And by the way, I got an updating development. I know, Mike, you might have seen it. I'll get to it in a second. Let me get it loaded up here. We have some more breaking news on. Again, this is an ongoing situation, but we got some pretty big breaking news actually coming up. Holy smokes! But anyways, here's what Tony Grossi said today, Mike. As soon as the news was announced, he went right back into the studio with the Really Big Show, and here's what he said today. Give me 1 second. And again, I'm sorry, we got some more. I'll get to this breaking news. As soon as I get out of this, I'll put this up here for you guys. So give me 1 second. But here's what Tony said today, kind of rating the same thing.
So your initial reaction, Todd Monken.
Well, my initial reaction is, holy cow. My second reaction is Schwartz the DC or not? That would help me accept it. If he's not, you're going to get a offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator off the grid that we haven't been talking about. So let's see how the dust settles. But this indicates that Haslam was never comfortable with Shieldhouse, and he went against the recommendation of his search committee leader and GM. So you got to wonder about the future of Andrew Berry.
So that was Tony Grossi again, Mike, today, kind of reiterating that same sentiment. Mike, he just mentioned there, what's the future of Jim Schwartz? It seemed like what I heard, Mike, that again, just from Tony or from Stump Mitchell and stuff, it seemed like that those two could work well together. But it sounds like, Mike, Jim Schwartz, breaking news. Let me hit the button, Mike. Where's the breaking news button? Give me my button, Mike. Where is it? Passed over for the head coaching job and told coaches he doesn't plan on staying in Cleveland. So Jim Schwartz is out of here, Mike.
Go succeed elsewhere, Barrow. Go somewhere else. I'm so sick of this team, dude. I'm so sick of it.
Again, breaking news, according to Mike Garofalo, Jim Schwartz is upset over not getting the head coaching job, and he is telling people that he is not staying in Cleveland. He does not plan on being here, so Jim's pretty upset about it, Mike. Beast Girl's in the house. He said it's a wrap. This is unbelievable. Miles is going to request a trade. And that's very fascinating, Mike. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, Mike. So let's take a deep breath here, folks, because this is just unraveling as we speak, literally. So Jim Schwartz is out of here, Mike, which I thought there would be a shot that because he's still under contract for one more year, that, maybe they would give him a little bonus and, that he would stay around and those two could work together. But I guess not. I guess he clearly thought, Mike, he was getting this job and he didn't get it.
Yeah.
And he's upset about it. So, and I could see where Jim Schwartz is coming from. And there was some rumors out there that, beginning that today that, Schwartz kind of was, the one really pushing back on a lot of stuff that he didn't want, he didn't want Nate Shieldhouse as, maybe not as his OC, that maybe not been the guy he wanted, but also he didn't want to be the DC for Nate Shieldhouse either. So this is just unbelievable drama going on in Cleveland right now. Jimmy Haslam hires his guy, I think, Todd Monken. Obviously, that relationship's gone back to, we've heard what Monken said recently. Jim Schwartz is out of here. Andrew Berry's future is now in question, Mike. I think that's I don't think that's something to rule out, like Tony Grossi said. I'm just trying to digest this, Mike. Schwartz is out of here. So now we got to find a DC. We got to find an OC. We already talked about that. But now who could be a DC for for Todd Monken? I mean, who was the DC in Baltimore this year?
What was his name?
I mean, that's what we got to figure out now. I mean, who are some defensive coordinators we could look at because now we need a new DC. I guess, Mike, let's stick with this real quick before we get back to the Andrew Berry thing. But you see what B Skrills said here. Excuse me. What do you think Miles thinks of all this?
I don't even want to begin to think about that right now. He probably hates it. I wouldn't blame him if he did. I mean, even if he requested a trade, he can't be traded for another 2 seasons at the very least. So, bro's strapped in. But, like, bro, I wonder if this is what Haslam expected to happen, or if there was some like handshake agreement that Jim was going to stay, and now he's like, no, I was kidding. I'm actually really upset. I'm not staying.
Yeah, I mean, this is unbelievable. This is an unbelievable day. I mean, I did not expect this.
You pass up your defensive coordinator who had the #1 defense. You pass up an aspiring young offensive mind who could turn your passing game and offense around for Todd Monken. All of this, you're losing all of that for Todd Monken. Jimmy Haslam, I hope he stays in Milwaukee, bro. I hope he doesn't show. You know what? He sucks. This sucks. Just stay in Milwaukee, bro. Stay in Columbus. Enjoy the crew. Go mess up the Bucks some more. Just stay away, dude. Oh my God.
The defensive coordinator was Zach Orr.
Zach Orr, that's right.
So he's been in consideration for some other jobs. The Chargers were interviewing him, requested to interview him. So that's somebody maybe to keep an eye on, Zach Orr. Yeah, so I guess that's what we're looking at now. Yeah, I don't like this part of it because Jim Schwartz, whether you want him as a head coach or not, as a defensive coordinator, he's one of the best in the NFL, in my opinion. He's done a hell of a job. He's proven that. He's his development since he's gotten here. I mean, guys like JOK and Grant Delpit really elevated, and Devin Bush. I mean, those guys under his tutelage really saved their careers. I mean, they really elevated, and leveled up and developed. He's gotten the best out of a lot of people. And I think what he did, that culture on that defensive unit week in and week out was just, awesome. I mean, it had energy every week. I mean, they kept the Browns in a lot of games, especially in, I think in 2023, even, when they went on that run with Flacco, there were some games where the defense really won it for them, but there were some games where the offense went off, but they played complementary football, and that defense, when they had a competent offense on the opposite side of them, looked great, especially, this year, Myles Garrett broke the single season sack record under him. I mean, this is going to be a big loss for that defense. I mean, schematically, could you get somebody here to do the same scheme? Yeah, but to me, it's not a schematic thing. Schematically, somebody may actually bring a little something different to that secondary. Because I think one weakness of the defense, in my opinion, with Schwartz has been the secondary times getting burned, but giving up a lot of explosives and stuff. But at times, but I think. To me, it's not a schematic thing. It's more of just somebody who can relate to the players and develops people, gets the most out of just even average players. You know what I mean? And gets the best out of them. That's hard to find. And that's what makes a great head coach, coordinator. He's the head coach of the defense, basically. So, this is fascinating. Do I think Todd Monken can definitely replace him with somebody? I'm sure he can. Will it be as good? I don't know. I know Todd Monken's been on the league for a long time. He knows a lot of people, but, he's going to have a plan coming in here. And I think Jimmy would have to have known this, Mike, when he made this decision today, that this could happen. Clearly they could have known this has happened because just by talking to Jim Schwartz, I thought, like I said, there was a shot maybe they could work out together. We saw from Jeremy Fowler, his report a little bit ago was that, right here, it says at the bottom there, we will see what happens to Jim Schwartz. And one team source told me that Monken and Schwartz had similarities as coaches and could work well together. So I don't know if the Browns assumed, Mike, that Jim Schwartz would just be, okay with this and we'll just give him a little pay raise, But it's clearly gone the other way, Mike, than what has maybe have thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope Jim Schwartz goes somewhere else and succeeds. I hope Andrew Berry does the same. Jimmy Haslam is the worst owner ever. I don't even just sell the team, bro. Just sell it. I know you already bought that new stadium. Well, I'm sure that'll factor in somehow. Just sell the team. Sell it. Please. Please go away.
So yeah, this is another ongoing development now. Jim Schwartz, most likely out of Cleveland, it sounds like, from Mike Garofalo. He's very upset and plans to be out here. We'll see, Mike. I don't know if you're looking at Twitter right now, or you probably can't. I'll look at some of the updates with this. I'm getting text about this as well. So we'll see what happens. This is going to be something else. I'm curious to see if some other reports come out about this. Maybe that Jim Schwartz is brought back here. I don't know. Let's do this, Mike. Let's go back to what I wanted to get to earlier before this news came out. Well, actually, let me read this real quick. So this is from Ari Myrov, I believe.
Yeah.
Do you know who that is? He's covering
Yep.
the 33rd team football.
He's a huge insider. Yeah.
So he reported a little bit ago. He said an issue that came up during the Browns search was that some candidates wanted to bring in their own staff altogether, which I agree. The idea of, quote, married to Jim Schwartz as DC wasn't for everyone, regardless of how great he has been. It also worked the other way around. It was unclear whether Schwartz would want to remain DC with some of the head coaching candidates brought in. The situation was complex.
Yeah. We talked about this last night. If you're going to hire a head coach, you have to be prepared to let him assemble a staff. If you didn't want to lose Jim Schwartz, just promote him. And they should have done that months ago if that's what they were really worried about. And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's my point. That's good.
Well, Dare Writer put out a thing about Todd Monken. He said 3 good things about Todd Monken. One, he isn't stuck in his ways when it comes to offensive systems, which Stump alluded to. Number 2, he knows how the Browns organization works. And number 3, he was a steady, calming voice during the 2019 season, which that also was verified through Stump. But
sure, need that right now.
Now, Mary Kay Cabot, Mike, put out less than an hour ago, Browns' new head coach, Todd Monken, has always been open to keeping defense coordinator Jim Schwartz, who's under contract to 26. Monken has the authority to hire his entire staff. It will be up to the 2 men to decide how to proceed. And I think sounds like Schwartz from this report has made his
already decided.
He said, I'm out of here. But wow. So this is fascinating. Fascinating stuff. Blake Williams, who I actually know through somebody who trains somebody we both know, Mike, very well. Yeah, he does. This is the Blake Williams I actually know. He said, guys, I'm telling you firsthand, Todd Monken is a hell of a coach. This is long overdue for him. I'll actually see if I can get Blake on the show. But what are we doing here? Jeremy says. Hummel says, love you guys. Keep your head up about the news. Chris Gerganis is in the house. Gergs is here. He said, lose out on the better can'ts because you don't want to lose Jimmy. Talking about Jim Schwartz, then you lose him anyways. Classic Browns.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. This is fascinating. So, there are some good reviews about Jim Schwartz. And again, this guy, Blake Williams, I actually know him through somebody. I know of him pretty well. So I'm going to actually get a little more insight on that from him. He's actually a former NFL player, Super Bowl champion. But so this is fascinating, though, Mike. This is unbelievable. I mean, man. Yeah, total mess. We saw that report. I'm trying to see if there's any more.
I need a beer.
So this is Aditi Kinkabala. She said, next question for the Browns. Does Jim Schwartz agree to stay in Cleveland as a DC, which we see he's gone? It says the organization very much wanted him to, but my understanding is that he never committed to do so if he wasn't chosen as head coach. Todd Monken offered a clear offensive plan that ultimately won out, I'm told.
Okay.
So Aditi Kinkabala says the organization wanted Schwartz to stay, but he never committed to doing so if he wasn't chosen as head coach. Todd Monken offered a clear offensive plan that ultimately won out. That's what Aditi King
Clear
was
offensive
told.
plan. All right. Well, a clear offensive plan. I wonder what that is. Can't wait to see what that looks like.
We're going to find out. Jeremy says, I believe Miles only agreed to stay because of Schwartz. That could be possible.
He agreed to stay because of that money, baby.
Well, money first. Yeah, protect the bag. But, you know, here's the thing I want to get to, though, Mike, because I think going back to this earlier, give me 1 second. Let me pull this back up here. This was earlier today from Grossi. Again, on the really big show. I'm curious. We want to talk more about this. Here's what he said earlier.
We haven't been talking about. So let's see how the dust settles. But this indicates that Haslam was ever comfortable with Shieldhouse, and he went against the recommendation of his search committee leader and GM. So you got to wonder about the future of Andrew Berry.
Jeremy says the tank is on for Arch.
You don't need to tank for him. He'll be available in the 4th round.
Mike, I got to agree with Tony a little bit. I don't know. I just have a hard time believing Andrew Berry, and maybe he'll come out and he'll go along with it, keep his, just to go along with it. He still has his job. Maybe like Darryl Ryder alluded to, like you said earlier, that maybe this is just the middle ground. But I don't know. I think there still could be more. I'm not saying that something could happen, but I think it's something to keep an eye on. Would I be surprised if Andrew Berry resigned? No, I wouldn't, because I just truly believe he would. I truly believe he would have went in a different direction.
Yeah, and I wouldn't blame him. Go succeed somewhere else. Show that it was always Haslam, and always will be Haslam. Wow, the Browns win 2 games and all of our star players won out. Sure. You're lucky they're going to be. Oh.
So there's a shot in the end, Mike. They could lose. They lost Jim Schwartz, right? They could lose Andrew Berry, too. So they could lose their defensive coordinator and the GM in the end of all this.
Jimmy Haslam just needs to learn to shut his mouth, dude. Just needs to learn to shut his mouth.
And that's what I'm curious now, too. If Aditi says he sold them on an offensive plan, and I'm going to get that up here for you guys. If he sold them on an offensive plan, could that have... Did Andrew Berry agree to that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to work into that, too. I mean, if he laid out an offensive plan, Andrew's part of that. Maybe it impressed Andrew. Maybe it was something that he didn't expect him to do. Maybe it was more impressive than they expected. I don't know. And that gives me the tiniest, bittiest sliver of hope that maybe this was a collaborative decision rather than Haslam just being a meddlesome little boy that he is. And I mean, even if it's not the case that Haslam didn't go over his GM's head, if that's truly not the case, I don't think fans are wrong for assuming that that's what this is.
No, because it's happened before. It's like he said yesterday. It's happened back in 2014.
Yeah,
with Joe Banner and the other guy, and he fired Banner and installed Ray Farmer.
Who knows? Maybe Andrew introduces Todd Monken and he's freaking smiling from ear to ear, clasps him on the shoulder, gives him a hug, or brings it in, whatever. And maybe I'm just completely wrong about my assumptions. Maybe a lot of people are too, but you can't blame us for thinking that after the way this went.
I mean, here's one connection, Mike, I could see with the Browns organization and Todd Monken, not only because him and ownership, obviously, which I read earlier, they have admiration for each other, and Todd liked working for them in 2019, and they respected Todd, was, Sashi Brown, he's been with the Ravens for a while now.
Yeah.
Is that somebody that maybe through just backdoor chat? I know I'm sure Barry worked with Sashi, I believe, and obviously through Deep Desk and all them. Could that be something too? Where they all have a relationship there? I don't know. I think that's one way to look at it too, is through that back channel. But because it is a small world. There's a lot of different relationships, connections. Here's the stuff from Aditi Kinkabala, Mike. Here, she actually put more. I'll put it full screen for you guys and get this ticker out of the way. She said, next question for the Browns, is Jim Schwartz agreed to stay in Cleveland, which we found out he won't. The organization very much wanted to, but my understanding is that he never committed to do so if he wasn't chosen as head coach. Todd Monken offered a clear offensive plan, and that ultimately went out, I'm told. She wanted to say when John Harbaugh hired Todd Monken as his OC, he very specifically told our NFL CBS crew, a huge part of the appeal was that Monken is not a system guy. He's someone who could adapt and fit and create offense to match players as opposed to being slave to one structure, which I think that's a plus for us, Mike, compared to what we've had in recent years. Can also say this, in my experience with him, Todd Monken is a very straightforward. This is what she's about to say here goes on what I said earlier about what happened, I think, with him and Lamar. He doesn't sugarcoat. He's not afraid of players, including superstars, and he could be what's that word, Mike? Acerbic.
I can't read it. Assertive.
Yeah, whatever, something like that. Don't expect any hand holding or coddling, Browns fans. So a lot to unpack there, Mike. I mean, I don't know. Again, we'll see what happens with the Andrew Berry thing. I guess we'll find that out probably, Mike, in the next 24, 48 hours. We'll see if he puts out a statement, which if he does, it means I guess he's here. If he doesn't put out a statement about it, and it's Haslam that does it, and Barry says nothing, then we'll see what happens. But and what the press conference looks like and stuff like that. So we'll see how this unfolds. But if they're all aligned, Mike, and this is their guy, obviously Jim Schwartz was pissed off and left. He sold him, Mike, on an offensive plan.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, here, better work out. Better work out.
What's your thoughts on the second part there, though? Why Harbaugh hired Monken? I guess, he's a very creative guy. He's not adapted to one system.
I mean, I guess if, Harbaugh said that about Monken, I got to give it, some flowers. I mean, that's good that he's adaptive and can work with anybody. A couple people have said that. I don't know, man. I just, he's been around for so long. If he was that great, why hasn't he received a job elsewhere before? I guess is my biggest thing. It's always a different coordinator. But I mean, here, maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. God, I hope I'm wrong.
Todd Monken is also 59 years old. Yeah, he's 59. I was curious what his age was. So he's still got some years left coaching him, obviously. I'll see if any more updates are here. I know a lot of people, Mike, are kind of upset about it.
Kind of.
But let's see. So this is from Jeremy Fowler, Mike, 20 minutes ago. It says source, no guarantee Jim Schwartz back as Browns defensive coordinator. Decision not to go with Schwartz could cause ripple effect with defensive side, players, coaches, etc. But he is under contract, and Todd Monken appears open to him staying. Situation fluid and much to sort out. So that's a lot to unpack right there. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me get this on the screen, Mike. This from Jeremy Fowler. Another update. Again, they're just flying off the wall right now. So there's a ton of updates. Okay, Andrew Berry did put out a statement, Mike, as well. So we'll read Andrew Berry's statement, which that's a good sign, I guess, in terms of just it seems like if he put out a statement, I guess he's fine with it. He's actually the first one to put out a statement. So let me get these up on the screen, Mike. Give me 1 second. But as I'm doing that, Mike, I think we got a comment here. He said, thought they would pair Schwartz with Monken since Schwartz wants out. I'm not a fan of the hire anymore. So Joey's out now, Mike.
Yeah, he should have been out from the get.
Let me get this up on the screen for you guys. There's some more developments coming out, some more breaking news. This one from Jeremy Fowler is very fascinating. We also have the Andrew Berry statement here in a second. Give me 1 second. I apologize. This is, well, I mean, you guys understand. This is Emergency Live, so it's just how it goes. How's your day going, though, Mike? You feeling a little better now, bud?
No.
You want to put that comment from Jeremy up there? Can you do that?
Yeah.
12:31. Yeah.
This new stadium about to be empty. If they don't turn this around, people are paying to watch the same crapshoot. You're fucking telling me, bud.
All right, so here we go. We have the official statement here. Beast Girl says, "I need a drink."
You and me both, brother. I am
Mike,
on that board.
Yeah, Mike and I might take Mike out tonight and
Need a
help
whiskey
him.
sour.
But watch this Cavs game. But anyways, here's a statement from Andrew Berry, folks. Todd has a varied and diverse background that we found as particularly appealing match for our team at this stage in its life cycle. He has a direct, demanding, and detail-oriented leadership style that would create a great incumbent for a young team. His successful offensive track record, both at the pro and college level, with a variety of offensive system and quarterback skill sets, will allow maximum flexibility as we make several long-term investments on that side of the ball. The lessons he learned from John Harbaugh and Kirby Smart, as well as his demonstrated track record turning around Southern Miss, have shown us that he has a full understanding of what the position requires and the capacity to execute. We cannot wait to get started and welcome Todd, Terry, and Travis to Cleveland. So that's a statement from Andrew Berry, Mike. Your reaction to that? I'll say my initial reaction, Mike. I'm glad he at least put out a statement because I was a little worried there for a second if he was going to be out of here because we'd have to go find a whole new GM. But it seems like he's on. This is a
collaborative. I guess that makes me feel a little bit better.
That's good. Your reaction to his statement?
Yeah, I mean the fact that it actually looks collaborative, that makes me feel much better about it. At least go Browns. Name calling will only get you so far. I didn't call you a name, DB. I was just saying you shouldn't have been okay with the hire to the get. That's what I said. I didn't call you no names, silly goose. Now I did. But
so he points out there that kind of what we felt, what we just read about Jim Harbaugh, the diverse background. He's not a slave to one system, which I like too. He's adaptive. He can work with different quarterbacks and skill sets. They also believe that his tutelage under John Harbaugh and Kirby Smart has prepared him to be a head coach now. So maybe that answers the question you were just wondering a little bit ago, which is a fair question. Why did this guy not get hired ever in the past then? But maybe he just wasn't ready, I guess. He does have head coach experience.
He's 60.
At Southern Miss. I might have been a longer process for him, which has happened before. Here, look at Kirk Cignetti. He was at James Madison, and then he finally got the bigger job at Indiana. And look what he's been able to do. But he was under tutelage with Nick Saban, and it's different for everybody. It's different paths for everybody. But I'm just trying to give a different. I'm playing devil's advocate. Just give a different angle of it. But kind of see where they're looking at it from this. But I find that interesting. Anything else in this statement, Mike, that stood out to you? Because really, to me, it's kind of what we thought.
Yeah. The fact that there's a statement at all is the only thing that stands out.
Yeah, that's true. What about the defense, says Anton Kidd? Jeremy says, can we just let Jesus take the wheel with the Browns?
I would love that.
People let Jesus take the wheel of life. Jeremy Fowler says, source, no guarantee Jim Schwartz back as Browns defensive coordinator. Decision not to go with Schwartz could cause ripple effect with defensive side, players, coaches, etc. But he is under contract, and Todd Monken appears open to him staying. Situation fluid and much to sort out. So that middle part there, Mike, decision not to go with Schwartz could cause ripple effect. That might be what we're going to be looking at here. Is we thought maybe it would be Barry, but I think now we're looking at this instead.
Yeah.
Players, coaches, etc. So can Myles Garrett be one of those players, Mike?
I certainly hope not. He can't be for at least 2 more seasons.
Who lobbied for him? Could there are some good coaches on that side of the ball. Could they be out of here?
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
This is fascinating. This defense now. These are guys that lobbied for Jim Schwartz, and maybe that was where a lot of that push came from head coaches. Really more Myles and which I would be surprised. I think we've talked about that too. So this is fascinating story. So we know Andrew Berry's good. We were wondering that question. That got answered. Andrew put out a statement, which we just read right here. But now, according to Jeremy Fowler, there could be a ripple effect of Schwartz, who, again, was just announced probably a little bit ago, we just reacted to the news live that he's upset and told coach he doesn't plan to be staying in Cleveland. And now we're seeing here there could be a ripple effect from that. So players and coaches, etc. Well, I'm curious to see what that is, because that's going to be a whole other thing now to unpack.
Yeah. Yep. We'll see how the ripple affects it. Yeah, very much
what a
so.
fucking day. Sorry, my
I need a
language.
whiskey sour.
Jeez Louise. Anyways, one of these years when it happens, nobody can say we didn't earn it.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. If the Browns win the Super Bowl, Mike and I might just retire from this. He said, praying emoji. Hope is a choice, and Browns fans choose it every year. Yeah. If Jim leaves, it could be devastating. Typical Browns, I guess. Yeah, and that's what this report's kind of alluding to a little bit, Anton. I mean, this is gonna be fascinating to see where this goes. What's Miles gonna think about this? What's Denzel, coaches, other players? I mean, where is this gonna go? You know, a guy like Devin Bush who played really well this year. I think he's a free agent. You know, does he want to come back now? I mean, like, there's a lot of things you can look at it from, you know, all these different angles of what could it work, where this could end up with all this now with this hiring. So, fascinating stuff, Mike. I mean, I don't know. Let's see. Let's check one more time. Make sure we got all the updates out of here. Jim Schwartz is out. Read his tweet. Yeah, it's right here. I got it right here, Chantel. We reacted to it when it came out live. Jim Schwartz is out of here. So now what's the ripple effect going to be that Jeremy Fowler's alluding to? So this is okay. So Tom Pelissero, Mike. Oh, okay. So yeah, here we go from Tom Pelissero, Mike. Let me get this up. So Tom Pelissero, after the Browns informed defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz this morning that they were passing him over to hire Todd Monken as head coach, Schwartz was visibly upset, said goodbyes in the building, told the coaches he's not coming back. Schwartz is under contract and Cleveland wants to retain him, but his future is now unclear.
Oh, boy.
So this happened a little bit ago, probably around 10 o'clock this morning. He was informed that he wasn't getting the job. Let me get this up here for you guys now. I keep adding more shit as we go on because it just keeps coming out. Give me 1 second. My apologies. But again, this is from Tom Pelissero. What really happened in the building this morning makes me kind of wonder now too, Mike, where that report came out from Pelissero as well. Anyways, that leaked out from somewhere. Let's get this up here. Give me 1 second. So again, here's a report from Tom Pelissero. Boom. So after the Browns informed defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz this morning they were passing him over to hire Todd Monken as head coach, Schwartz was visibly upset, said goodbyes in the building, and told other coaches he's not coming back. Sources tell the insiders. Cleveland is under contract, or Schwartz is under contract, and Cleveland wants to retain him, but his future is now unclear. Your reaction, Mike, to what really happened this morning?
Yeah, I mean, here sounds like a very visceral, emotional reaction. Maybe he chews on it for a little bit, changes his mind, but it doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that this guy told all the coaches goodbye, I'm out of here. He already made up his mind for this today. He made up his mind. If I don't get this fucking job, I'm out of here. That's pretty much what he told everybody. So,
not to cut it short, but I need to.
No, you boogie. Yeah, you head out. I'll close it out. Mike, we'll do. You got TPF obviously this week because we're gonna have to react to this. So, you there, Mike?
Yep. TPF coming this week. Love you all. Like, subscribe, and share. Shout
out to the professional fan. So yeah, I'll wrap it up with this. I mean, so this is a fascinating story. Obviously today, not only the Browns hired their head coach, but you can see right here, Jim Schwartz is pissed off, visibly upset. He left the building visibly upset, and he said goodbye to everybody in the building, and he's not coming back. So the fact that this got out, to me, Jim Schwartz already made up his mind before today that he's not coming back if he doesn't get the job, and it's over. So now we're going to have to find a new DC. We're going to have to find a new offensive coordinator. You know, Todd Monken's going to have to build out his staff, which I'm sure he's had an idea. if you took the job, you got to be prepared for this to happen. I know he was open to Schwartz coming back. But it sounds like Jim Schwartz, I don't think it has anything to do with Todd Monken. I think it's more of he just felt like he deserved the job and he didn't get it. And do I have a problem with him feeling that way? No, not at all. I think he's earned the right to feel that way. This is his last shot probably to get a head coaching job. And he did everything right for 3 years to get it, and he didn't do it. They didn't give it to him. So he should feel some type of way. It's a business, but Joe called up Coach Johnny. He's our last hope. We need him in brown and orange. Well, they need him for some soft tissue injury prevention and all that stuff for sure. The man behind the curtain says that watch Ravens highlights on offense, even though it's Lamar, still exciting. Yeah, we read about that earlier. He'll bring a diverse offense. Definitely. I think his offense is improving, like Barry pointed out in his statement. So that's a plus there. B Skrills, Miles probably more than likely out once out right now. If Miles wants to leave, let's trade him. His value would never be higher. Possibly. He does have a no trade clause, which he got in that contract. So, and I'm asking myself as a Browns fans, what do we do to the football gods that deserve this? Salute, B Skrills. Salute to you, brother. Yeah, I don't know. This is fascinating. What a hell of a day. These updates are ongoing and coming out as we speak. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share because we're going to keep reacting to all this stuff for sure. He said, thanks, guys. Looking forward to the next show. Appreciate you, Anton. But yeah, so Todd Monken in, Jim Schwartz out. Who else is going to be out? What's to come from this? I don't know. We'll see what happens. Joe, record prediction, ask for a friend. I don't want to put a prediction out right now. It's too soon. I mean, they got to go through the draft. Who's going to be the quarterback? Like, there's so much more that's going to happen. I'll give you a real prediction probably in like August because that's how long it's probably going to take. So, but yeah, hey, Humble, I will tell you this though, Humble. I got a Cavs prediction for you. They're going to win tonight, and then they're going to add the guy on the other side tonight in the offseason, possibly. That report already came out today. But anyways, sticking with the Browns, I think, Monken in, Schwartz out. Schwartz left the building visibly upset. What's next? I think that's the question we all want to know. What's next? Going back to what Palisaro said, right? Not Palisaro, excuse me, what Jeremy Fowler said, the ripple effect. What's next? What's going to come from all this? That's what I want to know. What's going to happen? So we'll react to it live. And I'll keep refreshing X all day and getting on the phone and calling people and getting some more updates. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share and all that good stuff. And salute to you guys for tuning in today. And as always, it's, still go Browns at the end of the day. We'll all still be here. He said, let's go Cavs. Let's go, Joe. Appreciate you, Humble. W live. Fair enough. Yeah. Thanks for the live fan. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to you guys for tuning in the middle of the day today. Take your time out of your day to come join. We were prepared for this just in case it happened. I had a feeling it could happen. It was going to happen today. Just didn't know when. Although I felt like the morning was probably what would happen. So appreciate you guys. Let's go Guardians. Baseball's coming around the corner here pretty soon. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share and all that good stuff. You're watching this. If you just tuned in, go watch the playback. Mike and I broke down a ton of updates in this the last hour. So go watch that and where this could go. Mike also gave a rant of all rants too at the beginning of this. So go check it out. And if you want to leave a voicemail about how you really feel, call and leave a voicemail, 216-532-5550. Again, 216-532-5550. Call and leave a voicemail, right? It'll ring. You'll hear my voice message. Leave a voicemail, and I'll play it on the show in the next live. So your thoughts on the Browns and the hiring and what you think's next. So call and leave a voicemail right now or leave a comment below this video, and we'll break it all down in the next live. So like, subscribe, share all the good stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out of here.